You did already mention that you're kind of thinking about more kids. Is that actually in the plans, or is that just kind of like out in the ether?
Yeah, I think we are. We're not sure how many, but and we still like don't have like a plan of like, every 2 years, like like we're just, we're still gonna play it by ear. I think a lot of our decisions around that stuff are gonna depend how this one goes. I think we're not trying to make a plan that we can't make good on. So um yeah, we're gonna see how things go for the next little bit. Like we're gonna definitely Michelle's gonna go back to work for a while. We're gonna get back to kind of normal life for probably a year at least, and then see where we're at. We've kind of talked to like we might do finish having kids here and then move somewhere else, or we've talked a little bit recently about moving again. So we're not sure how that'll look, but stuff that we're talking about for sure. I think that that's all you can do is be really open with how everybody's feeling, and that's definitely the plan. We both come from, like I said, families of Michelle has two sisters and herself, and I have two brothers. So we both come from families of three kids, and I think that maybe we would do something like that, like 2 to 3. Probably, I'm not looking at going to the like 4, 5, 6 route, like Tremblay, but we'll see. I'll probably call her quits before that. And and it's also for every intention, sometimes it's hard to have babies. So
Yeah.
I think that we're, again, given what Michelle doesn't work, we're very aware of that. So we feel really lucky, and yeah, we'll try some more, but we'll see where that puts us in the end.
Yeah, that makes sense. And our generation, another thing that's like very different with our generation versus like previous generations, especially like way previous generations, is that we are a lot more mobile. We move around a lot more. We have a lot more our careers aren't as set. We don't just move into like one house and have one job for 40 years. Like, it's completely reasonable and normal for our generation to have a kid, have two kids, move cities, move careers, move jobs, move like specialties. And it's like just part of our life. So that
Yeah,
makes
for
sense.
sure. So we'll see. I mean, right where we're at right now, we don't have any family on the island, so I think that is tough. It's kind of nice to have that guaranteed sure thing babysitter when your grandparents are around and stuff. So we uh we might end up trying to get closer to one of our families to just make life a little easier, like as you start to have more kids. But we'll see. For now, we're still enjoying our island adventure, and then we'll see where we end up.
Yeah.
What
All
about
right.
you? Five,
We're
5, 6, 7?
yeah, full baseball team. So we're gonna have 11. No,
God, can you imagine?
oh my god, dude, I don't know, I would love to have more kids. We had a difficult time getting pregnant and having our son. It just took a long time. It took a lot longer than we expected. We were actually like in the process of like we had seen a couple different fertility doctors, and were a day away, like literally a day away from beginning the process for like harvesting some of Katie's eggs and like starting the IVF process when we found out she was pregnant. So
Oh, that's awesome.
we were very, very much like, it's important to us to have kids. We want to have kids. We want to have at least one kid, hopefully multiples. And we were very aggressively pursuing like every option we could. And then we just happened to find out that we were pregnant, and that this one stuck, which was fantastic. And so I think we're just going to kind of do what you're saying as well. It's like kind of play it by ear, you know uh let Katie sort of like get back to some normalcy, sort of get to know her new body, because I think like post
Mhm.
birth body is very different. And get to know sort of like how she functions, and get back to some sort of normalcy in our lives, and then just play it by ear and hope that we can make another kid happen sometime in the next couple of years, hopefully. So
It's funny. We were in like a similar situation where we were planning to try for a period, and then if we weren't able to conceive by like a certain month, we were just going to shelf it until like Michelle finished residency, and we were going to maybe let it sit for like a year. Just it's like it's stressful if you're having trouble. It's not great for relationships.
that
I
was
don't think
awful. It's the
either.
worst.
So We were kind of similar where we had like set ourselves a deadline, and then it was like, you know what, no stress, like we'll shelf it for a bit. And then we had like on our last month we got pregnant, so it was kind of like cool as well. That's awesome, good for you guys. Also, kind of a good point about, like I was saying, like our plan is, yeah, maybe to have one or two more, but um it's not as easy as that. I
Mm.
think we sort of get fed this, like, if you have sex you will get pregnant and die
Yeah.
thing, like,
My
but
God.
it's really not that easy for a lot of
No.
people. Some people have a really easy time, some people have a really really hard time. And I think that often you don't hear those stories because people don't like to talk about it because it's a little bit taboo or whatever. But um getting pregnant for a lot of people is not as easy as it seems, and I think a lot of that is because nowadays, like you were saying a bit about how society and culture has changed, and people are establishing careers and making it to a certain point in life, and it's hard to, like, babies are expensive, like it's hard to get to a point where you feel like, all right, I can support a family, until maybe 5 or 10 years later in your life than it used to be. So
Mhm.
by the time people are getting to that point, it's just like biologically a little harder to have kids. So it takes longer, it takes more effort. So we're kind of at a moment where that's more and more often the case. So I actually find it kind of interesting because people don't really talk about it, but it is very, very common that that's the
Yeah.
case. You hear a lot of people who have trouble, and or who go through IVF and multiple rounds of IVF. And so, just to, if we're having this podcast, like, I don't know, talk about it, because I don't. People can feel alone in that experience too, right? And
Absolutely.
it's hard on the relationship, and it's hard on things like that. And it's, like, it's not like every there's a lot of people having trouble with that sort of thing, and it's so it's not like you're broken or your relationship's broken, or like,
No.
it's just like,
No.
it's
Yeah.
hard. It's
It
hard. It's not as easy as it sometimes looks in the movies.
it took us 2 years of like actively trying to have a successful pregnancy, and it just wasn't in the cards for 2 years.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of ups and downs in that time. And so, like, the idea that, man, it's like an old Vonnegut quote, about
Ooh.
how there's some women out there who get pregnant the way other people catch a cold. And it's like, that was not us. And that was not our
No.
experience. It
Yeah.
was a lot harder. It was a lot harder than we expected to. Like, I was like, you know what, I'm a virile young man, like, she's a healthy young woman, we're gonna have a baby the first time we give this a shot. And it was not the case. It was not the case at all. So yeah, the reality of the situation is that it just takes a little bit of time and effort sometimes.
Yeah. Well, good for you guys. That's awesome. I didn't know that. So that's really cool. And I think that, yeah, like I said, it's worth mentioning that it's not uncommon. And I think that, yeah, it's worth like talking about with people, because it's hard not to feel like, well, like, is it me? Is it like,
Mhm.
and then it's hard. And then you get like, you go through the process of getting like tested to see who's more at fault. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's hard on
yeah.
relationships, right? Like,
It's
it's just
really
a
tough.
very difficult situation to navigate. So I think that the more people talk about it, the more it's less taboo. And I think you can actually help people's relationships stay a little stronger by making it more of a topic that people can talk about and help about. Because, yeah, shared experience is important, right? And that,
Yeah.
like, people just knowing that, yeah, like, takes 2 years sometimes, but then it happened, right? And so people don't despair. So I think that's actually really important. So good for you guys. That's way to stick to it.